Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Jay's Fifth Down podcast. I'm your host, Jaden, and today we're going to be predicting my top 10 offenses in the NFL in 2023. The teams that I think are really going to break open, continue to have offensive success, and they will be the top teams in the NFL according to offensive efficiency, things of that nature. And then I'm going to give my way too early picks for MVP of 2023. I know it's really early, with no idea, but just to have fun, to think what player do I think is going to take home this established award of the most valuable player. So we'll talk about that. But again, make sure you guys check us out on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Subscribe to the channel. Please check us out. Please do that. Please. We appreciate the support. And again, follow us on Spotify and every podcast platform. So moving into our, like I said, my top 10 offense in the NFL. These, like, again, and this could change very much when we start the season. Come September, right? We don't know. Players could get hurt, or coaching changes, things of that nature. That's just the way of the game. That's the NFL. That's how it is. And it's professional sports in general, right? Things change. You don't always know. So, but just to have fun, like I said, it's the off season. All the player movement, and now that we're past the draft, and now that we see, okay, all these players that have been drafted to these places, ratings, trades, all these things, and now assessing all of those things, and then moves to possibly even come. Um, these are who I believe will be the best offense in 2023. First up, I have the Chiefs. Now, this is obvious. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is a generational talent. What he can do with the football in his hand is amazing. I mean, he had 31 touchdown passes last year in a year where the Chiefs weren't supposed to be as dynamic offensively as they've been years past because they traded Tyreek Hill to the Dolphins. A lot of people thought they wouldn't be they wouldn't continue to be the Chiefs like we normally know them to be, right? And I was one of those people myself. I mean, if I'm being honest. And the thing of it though, they had a good. I mean, they're still at the NFL in points per game and yards per average yards per play, right? Patrick Mahomes again, 31 touchdown passes. Interception numbers are a little bit high for him this year, but hey, Super Bowl MVP. MVP and Super Bowl award. So in the same year, which hadn't been done previously. So he it didn't matter, right? But I believe what's going to be interesting to see is how Andy Reid adapts the offense because you lose guys like Juju Smith-Schuster. Um, yeah, you lose guys like him, right? You lose Juju Smith-Schuster to free agency. And you're gonna have Sky Moore step up. Rasheed Rice Jr., I believe that's what his name, the rookie they drafted. How's he going to step up? And then they still got some other players on the roster. I'm looking for to see Kadarius Toney, as well. So not that big body receiver because that's not really how they run their offense. I mean, it's the spread. It's the middle of the field. It's the digs. You lose Marquez Scantling as well. It's just those digs and stuff in the middle of the field, and of course your deep routes occasionally. So I'm just interested to see how Kansas City attacks that. As far as their offensive scheme is what's going to stay the same, or they're going to change some things up. And then you got Isaiah Pacheco in the backfield, who's just your established number one running back, and so now it's like you can include him in the passing game as well. So it just makes the Chiefs' offense that much more lethal and more dangerous. But they can be stopped or slowed down, not stopped, but they can be slowed down if you do it right. The Bengals have showed us how to do this. The Raiders to an extent sometimes. The Chargers even had a blueprint last year. They were leading 17-0 at one point in Kansas City at Arrowhead, but of course, they blew the lead, right? Chargers fashion. So that's what I'm interested in. And then right behind them, I got the Eagles. I mean, now you lose Miles Sanders for agency, right? Great running back, but they brought back in DeAndre Swift via trade, and Rashad Penny as well. So you got those two backs in the backfield there, and so it's going to be interesting. I mean, and now AJ Brown. So guys, the same receiving core from last year, right? That's the same. So defenses are going to have to shift their attention to Brown, Smith, Brown and Smith, Quest Watkins as well, right? He can be when he's on, he can be a deep threat, a consistent deep threat. When he's when he's playing to the level that he knows he can play out of that slot position, right? And so that thing is for Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts can stay healthy the whole year, have another MVP like season. Continue to run the ball. Like they used. I mean, he's always a threat to run the ball. He can run. Get those key first downs, and then of course you send AJ Brown and Devontae Smith deep. You can send them deep. You can send them across the middle of the field. You can send them you can send on the screens, the short stuff. Their receiving room is capable of doing many different things. So it's like they have a receiving core that can go deep. They can go. They can do the intermediate level routes, the short stuff. Bench your way down the field if you want to do that. So it just depends on where the Eagles' offense, how the offense coordinator wants to attack. It's that specific day, that specific game. And their receiving room is capable of doing that. And then, of course, the added effect of the run game. Now, you don't know who to slow down. The defense doesn't know who to key in on because your quarterback can run it. You got two running backs who are capable of running the football to a very competent level in DeAndre Swift and Rashad Penny. And again, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goddard, didn't even mention his name. Uh, you know, um, and Quez Watkins, right? And so Zach Pascal as well, of course. So you got him, in the Raptors too. So the Eagles have a lot of weapons on offense, and they did great offensively last year as well. So I expect the same see the same thing out of them, if not better. And just see how they attack that. I mean, because now you can use those two running back sets if you want to. DeAndre Swift is a great pass catcher out the backfield. That's what he did a lot at Georgia. When he was there and in Detroit. And so it's going to be interesting. And I really want to see how Philly can attack that. I mean, you lose Shane Steichen he's now a head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. So can their new offensive coordinator step up, and continue to scheme correctly and have this team ensure their offensive success, right? And coming in at number three, you got the Buffalo Bills. The Bills, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. Enough said, right? We know how they can. What we know, what they're capable of. When they get together on the field. Josh Allen, of course, we all know he's a threat with his legs. He can run, jumping over people, all that stuff. Man, the dude's a freak of nature. He's like a dude you build like in a lab. Like he's something like that. He's crazy. Um, you know, and I just think like the Bills. The only thing that hurt them in the playoffs against Cincinnati was like the play calling was an issue though. That hurt them. Like they were calling stuff that they like the I don't know why the offensive coordinator called those certain things. And Josh Allen, it didn't help his case that much either. Because Cincinnati was just you know using those intermediate level routes, just working their way down the field in that snowy cold weather up there in Buffalo. Just not throwing all those deep shots and stuff, and not trying to be fancy or whatever. They were just saying, you know what, we're going to take what the defense gives us, work our way down the field. Joe Mixon is a capable running back; he can run the ball. We eat up the clock. Keep our defense on the sideline as much as we can. And just work our way, progress our way down the field, inch by inch by inch. Football is a game of inches, inch by inch, right? So that's what they did, and they did a good job because they beat the Bills in the playoffs at their stadium, and Buffalo just could not get anything really going offensively. You blame some of that on Josh Allen. Did he make the best throws? No, but then again, he wasn't put really in the best position by the play caller. So that's something to take into account with the Bills. Like, so they have to figure out. They got to get I hope Damian Harris is it will be solid for them because they need a presence of a running game, like to kind of take that pressure off of Josh Allen, off of Stephon Diggs, and the receiving core off of Gabe Davis, so the defense got something to key in on other than Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, right, and Gabe Davis. Like that's you would think that'd be like enough to where it's okay. Well, they don't know, but still, there's ways to do that, right? And so that's what you want. You don't want like your other team to just know what you're going to run all the time. Like that hey, he's going to keep it one of these plays. It's going to be a go route to Stephon Diggs. He's going to send him on the post, or Gabe Davis is running the post, or he's running the slant skinny. He's running the fade route. You're like, so it's like it's that type of stuff. Like you know being an offensive coach is like if the defense is able to key on what I'm running, I need to start running some other things, change up my scheme, my personnel. So I'm looking for the Bills to adapt to that, and be able to have a great running game, to complement Josh Allen in his ability to throw and run the football, and the receivers they have out wide with Diggs, Gabe Davis, and those guys, right? They lost Isaiah McKenzie in free agency, so I'm interested to see who they put in that slot position to kind of cover that role that he would play normally. So that's gonna be something to look out for. And speaking of the Cincinnati Bengals, they're my next team. Coming in at number 4, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Enough said. Now they got to get those guys on contract extensions. They got to sign them up. But Joe Burrow's chilling. He's cool. He's like, hey man, you know what? We're gonna figure it out. They're gonna figure it out. I have faith in that. I mean, they want to keep this core together because we know that if we're all together on the same team, we're all healthy. We can do a lot of things. We can win a lot of games. We can win a Super Bowl. They've already been to one, right? So, um, I mean, Joe Mixon, he's getting up there in age. So it's like, I believe they did take a running back this year in the draft, but yeah, Joe Mixon's getting up there in age, right? So, you know, maybe not. I mean, runs the ball so much, but able to have a consistent running game to where you don't have to pass the ball every single down or every other down like they've been doing. I mean, but it works. We have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins out wide who can catch the football. Hayden Hurst was a great addition to that offense as well. So I got the Bengals in the fourth best offense coming in 2023. I think still going to just shake people up, and do what they do offensively, score points, score touchdowns, get in the red zone, and be highly efficient when they get down there. Red zone efficiency is an extremely important stat. You have to be efficient in the red zone. You're getting 7 and not 3. That is huge in football. You have 7 points is that's you want touchdowns, right? But you got to work to get there. It's a pro. You have to. I mean, it's a process. Touchdowns not gonna come on every play. So calling the right place. Hey, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't call this deep shot right away. I know it probably will score, but what's the defense? What look are they giving us? Is this the right time? Is this so many things probably going through offense coordinator's head. Like, hey, look, defense they're giving us this certain look. We want to take a deep shot, but we don't know if it's the right call. Then again, we got one of the best deep route runners in the league, and he's got great hands. So it's like those are the type of things that are going through their head. You're like, how do we, get down there, score, just continue to have offensive success, right? That's the question. So coming at number 5, we got the Seattle Seahawks. They made great moves in the offseason. Of course, they extended Geno Smith first and foremost to be their quarterback for the next couple of years. Thought they were going to take a quarterback in the draft this year. I thought they might have Anthony Richardson possibly could have slipped to them, maybe even Will Levis, but that wasn't the case. They took Devin Witherspoon with their first pick, cornerback out of Illinois. Awesome selection there for the Seahawks, but we're focused on the offense right now. Um, Geno Smith is a quarterback. We know like he led the league in completion percentage last year. Solid numbers for him: 30 some touchdowns, over 300,000 passing yards. If he has another solid year like that, and you get production out of Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, more production from those two, and then you add in Jackson Smith and Jiba from Ohio State, who they drafted this year with that second, you know, draft pick in the first round, and I think the Seahawks have potential to be a top 5 offense. Like at number 5, I think they have potential to be a great offense. And yeah, I mean the offensive line is still getting there. They're work in progress, but they're continuing to get better. Um, so it's just gonna be something that we have to look out for. I mean, and their tight ends aren't bad either. Will Disley, great tight end too. He's emerged. He was a reliable pass catcher for Geno Smith last year. And so when we go on to the 49ers, staying in the NFC West, they got the San Francisco 49ers. Um, Kyle Shanahan, offensive genius, mastermind. We know what he can do as far as calling the plays and everything, but you got to have the players to do so. Coaches can call, they can, be one of the greatest coaches ever. You have to have players. If you want to win this league, you have to have really good players. And you want to win the game of football, right? And you have Christian McCaffrey who mentioned like, hey, yeah, this is the best thing that's ever happened because I'm in a place where I feel like I'm wanted and I'm not used so much to the point where I'm gonna just break. Like, they know how to manage me correctly, and I'm not just a focal point of this offense. He there very well could be. He has the ability to be, as he saw in Carolina. He can do that for sure, but that's not what he wants, and that's not what the 49ers should want to do either. You don't want, your main focal point of offense to be Christian McCaffrey, Christian McCaffrey, Christian McCaffrey, Christian McCaffrey. So it's like sprinkling in George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, all these guys, right? Reverend McLeod. Like the 49ers have a decent offense. It's just a matter of who's going to be the quarterback. Is it going to be Sam Darnold? Will it be Josh Rosen, or will it be Brock Purdy or Trey Lance? We don't know. Um, so we don't know who that quarterback is going to be. This is Sam Darnold, Brock Purdy, Trey Lance. We don't know which of those quarterbacks is going to be. I say Josh Rosen. I didn't mean to say Josh Rosen. But I feel like it's going to be one of those quarterbacks there. Um, they probably need to add another quarterback though to the roster just to have four on the team. Chris McCaffrey say he can play quarterback, and he was warming up in the Philly game last year, so we never got to see really that happen. But it would be interesting to see, like, just have him in there for a whole game at quarterback. Like that would just be funny. So the 49ers definitely, we don't know what's going to happen with that quarterback situation. So that's going to be interesting. And then moving on to the Cowboys. Dak Prescott. I would have had him on higher in this list, but again, the Cowboys just are always gonna do what they do. Dak Prescott's probably gonna get injured at some point in the season. I'm not wishing that on a player. I would never do that to a person. But he's more likely not, as he might get injured during the year, miss some time, so that's gonna affect the offense a little bit. But still productive offense. I have him sitting at number 7. It's between my top 10 offense in the NFL. CeeDee Lamb. He's better in the slot, but they put him outside last year. He had to be because Amari Cooper, was the main outside guy, but he got traded. So it kind of forced CeeDee Lamb to play that number one outside role, and that's not really his game. He's more of a slot inside guy, and he's going to go down to get middle of the field, sit in those zones, get those run after the catch plays. That's what he is. So and then Tony Pollard, your home run guy out the backfield. He's a beast. He's elusive, very electric player. The Cowboys want definitely have him involved in their offensive game plans. And now moving on from there, we got the Ravens. You add Odell, who is still a solid receiver at this age, and is be a good mentor to that room to guys like Rashad Bateman and Zay Flowers, of course. The Baltimore Ravens have good receivers. It's a matter of Lamar Jackson. He's got his contract now, so everything should be looking up for Baltimore. I think they're going to have a great offense next year if everybody can stay healthy, if Lamar can stay healthy, because when Lamar Jackson was on the field, the Ravens were scoring 23 points per game. That dropped down to 13 points per game when he was not on the field. So they need him on the field for their offense to do good. And next after them, I got the Chargers. Justin Herbert, and now they added Kellen Moore to be their offense coordinator from the Cowboys. So he's going to bring that type of mindset there to Los Angeles and see how the change in the play calling, how that'll turn out for LA, the Chargers, speaking of. But yeah, I really want to see how that happens. I think the Chargers have the potential to have a great offense next year. But their defense is going to be still key. They have to keep leads in the games and playoffs, whatever the case might be, because they blew a 27-point lead against Jacksonville last year in the postseason. So we'll see what happens there with the Chargers. Sitting in at number 10, I have the Jets. The Detroit, the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers, we know what he can do. He's a 4-time MVP, Super Bowl champion. He gets traded to New York. And the Jets are like, hey, we got our guy fine. We have a quarterback, and this is the year we go and win a Super Bowl. That is the goal. And, Garrett Wilson won Offensive Rookie of the Year. Garrett Wilson had great seasons. He's had great seasons as a Jets receiver. He's going to continue to be one of the great receivers from that class. It's just going to be really interesting to see how that works. I want to see how that happens. With the Jets, how that's going to work, and leave that to Nathaniel Hackett and Aaron Rodgers to figure out. Judging from Nathaniel Hackett's time in Denver, hopefully his already established a rapport with Aaron Rodgers will help his case, and they'll kind of come together on what they feel like the offense should look like going into 2023, right? So that's why I think they're an honorable mention. You could have the Lions. They have a good passing attack. Last year, last couple of years, actually, Jared Goff played really well. So I expect the Lions to have an offense that's up there, rushing and passing, because the Lions had one of the better passing teams in the NFL in 2022. So interested to see how that happens also. But yeah, guys, this is going to be interesting. I'm excited for the 2023 season, how it's going to look, what's going to happen, and my pick for the MVP is way too early, but my pick for NFL MVP next year, oh man, it's going to be, I think it's going to be Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts wins MVP next year. Um, I think yeah, he wins the MVP next year, and I think the Eagles could go to Super Bowl again and repeat and win. Um, I mean, I think that's what I feel like that's what that could happen. And I feel like Jalen Hurts deserves it. He should have got it last year, or he was in the running. He was a very prime candidate to receive that award next to Patrick Mahomes, the two quarterbacks playing in the Super Bowl, two of the best quarterbacks in the league. So you understand that part of it, but what he can do with his legs. I mean, what he can do. I mean, throwing the football. He's very smart, very technician. Like his plays. I mean, everything. So he's a kid that studies. He works hard. He's always going to bring his A game every week, every Sunday. So and now you add again, just more dynamic and variables to the Eagles' attack offensively. So that's going to wrap up today's podcast today, guys. I just want to talk about my top 10 offenses I have in the NFL next year, who I think the teams are going to lead the way offensively, score all these points and all these numbers up. Then I gave my pick for MVP, which again was Jalen Hurts. Way too early 2023 MVP predictions. My answer again was Jalen Hurts. If you guys agree or disagree, let me know in the comment section below. Make sure you subscribe and check us out here on the channel. Hit that subscribe button, guys. Comment, like, share. You know the deal. Follow us on the socials, IG, Twitter, TikTok, all that good stuff. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Jay's Fifth Down. We'll catch you next time.